first seed. No, I won't do that to you.
Welcome back to the Pro Football Pod. We're bringing you Week 14 review.
Review, recap. Actually, it's Week 13 we're recapping. Week
True.
14's in the
Man,
front.
freaking playoffs are here. I have 2 leagues that are starting playoffs this week, which is kind of fucked. Like, it sucks that there's teams on bye and there's teams in playoffs.
My Dynasty League,
I don't get that.
our playoffs don't start till Week 15, which with the championship in Week 17, and I'm so irritated by that.
That's the way it should be. There's 18 weeks.
It is, but there are certain... Now, I'm not necessarily worried about it with my AFC players because that race is so tight. I think all teams are playing for seeding up until the very end. But it is worrisome that, 2 weeks left in the year, certain NFC teams, because there's such a gap there that, these players may not be sitting. Or like you guys mentioned pre-show, certain teams like the Bengals with Joe Mixon, how much are they actually going to use him? Because, as we record this, we're watching the game right now, and Joe Mixon has a total of 1 carry to Chase Brown's 5.
Dude, I knew I should have gotten Trent Irwin. I knew it. I just knew it. Like, of course this guy's just going to keep targeting this freaking surfer dude, nobody, like, for no reason.
Yeah.
Like,
it's guys they work with on the practice squad.
Exactly. It makes a lot of sense.
They got that connection. Who they?
Now, let's get into the games that did take place and the players that did show out a little bit. And I was looking through the quarterbacks that I wanted to review this week, and the list was actually very small. Like, Jalen Hurts, not a good fantasy output. Even with a rushing touchdown. Pat Mahomes, not a good fantasy output. So really, the list was very slim, and without having to, throw Tua in your guys' face every week just because he kind of deserves it. So MVP, shout out. Dak, the man's been cruising. He's been eating. I mean, you thought Philly was going to slip him up. He still didn't really slip up that much at all, and he just absolutely torched the Seahawks. They kept pace a little bit up until the fourth quarter. But, I mean, to me, he was one of the top, if not the top, fantasy quarterback of this last week. Got to keep giving him his flowers.
It feels a better Kirk Cousins that can do it with his legs.
It feels like if you have Dak and CD, that you're about to win a championship. Like, if you have the stack, you're about to win a championship. Like
the Dak stack.
Yeah,
the Dak and CD stack
the
is
Dak
the
attack?
only stack that you'd want over Tua and Tyreek.
The only one. And it's not that Tua, and it's because of Tua. Tua's going to have some bad games. He's about to play Baltimore. He's about to play the Jets. Mm-hmm. He's about to play some really tough matchups. True. Dak's got none of that. He's got the easiest schedule.
I've got Dak and
he's
Tua.
actually coming up on 3 easy.
I've got
3 hard
Dak
games.
and Tua on a roster together, and Dak has been my starter for the last 3 weeks.
Yep.
The Cowboys have the Bills and Chiefs next, so it's not the easiest.
That's week 14 and 15, and then they have
you
legitimately
some diversity from him.
16 and 17. They've got the easiest. Oh man, it's so.
If you have Dak and CD, you literally got to get through that first round of the playoffs. Unless you're a playoffs with 6 teams and you're working that first round bye action, then you're coasting. You ain't got to worry about it. So yeah, definitely love what Dak's been doing. Got to give him. He's at this point, to me, he's got to be. I think Brock Purdy right now is the betting favorite for MVP. I just think that's like the popular pick right now, which is
Dak's
why he's
the
favorite. To me, Dak should be the favorite just with the way that offense has been rolling. Another guy, and we mentioned it last week, is the guy to pick up, and I'm going to keep mentioning him just for fantasy purposes. Gardner, Minshew Mania.
Dude's a baller,
man.
300 yards versus Tennessee. Now, they don't have the greatest pass defense, but for fantasy
they're
purposes,
still middle of the pack.
I don't care about that.
Against receivers and quarterbacks. They were 15, 16.
He's slinging it. And shout out to Pat McAfee, because I saw a tweet he put out there about Gardner Minshew. Now, Colts on Colts, so he's kind of always going to support him. But what he put out is the exact way I feel about Minshew. Is he a great quarterback? No. Does he make terrible plays? Yes.
Yes.
But is he electrifying and exciting to watch? Yes. Is he the kind of quarterback that you yourself would want to see your team have? Yes. Like, just literally minimize the mistakes. Gardner is every bit of what you would want in a franchise QB. He's electric on the field. He's got a great personality. To me, he's the next generation of Ryan Fitzpatrick. Hopefully, he just doesn't play for like 8 different teams.
I think the difference between him and like a Ryan Tannehill is that he's willing to be risky, and he's similar to Jameis. Sometimes his risk is the reason that he loses the game, but a lot of times that little bit of risk is why he's able to keep him in it, why he's able to come down the stretch and make a big play. It's because he's willing to try.
Mac Jones would be a good comparison.
Of someone that
who's bland and not
doesn't take
exciting
the
for
risk.
An organization, like you're not excited to
polar
go
opposite.
watch
Yeah,
a game
polar
of
opposite.
his. You know,
You're telling
I
me-
mean, that's why he's sat now. But like
After
before
watching Mac Jones, Bill Belichick's ready to give up a first-round draft pick for Gardner Minshew. Right
well,
now. Save
I
his
think
career.
he's about to get Caleb Presley or Drake May. So I think
Caleb
that he's
Williams- if
y'all
Caleb
heads
Williams-
are in the
Damn,
gutter.
why do I
This-
keep doing that?
if this league allows Bill Belichick to have one more ignition into his system, into his life, and he gets Caleb Williams.
Or Drake May. Either one.
But see, I've
Or-
got to say Caleb Williams because I'm to the point where I think they're getting Drake May almost regardless, just because I don't see them winning many more games.
Any more
So
games.
we need as a league, we need the Panthers to keep losing so the Bears have that first pick and they can either pick Caleb Williams themselves, ship off Justin Fields, or trade it for an absolute ransom because some team will give up 4 first-round draft picks for Caleb Williams.
And then they still get to pick at 4. Right now, they pick
Yeah.
at 4. Arizona is likely going to end up getting Marvin Harrison, which is also crazy. Because I see them as a team that's in the hunt for it. Why would they possibly win another game if they can get Marvin
that's
Harrison
what
in a
they're
couple
messing
of months?
up by winning these games. They're screwing up their draft pick.
Yeah.
Well, not only that, but the Cardinals winning also just helps the Patriots stay where they're at in draft position. But
I
Before
don't
we
see
move
Bill
on,
being
before
there.
we move
I
on,
don't see Bill being there very much longer. I think he goes to the Chargers, and I think he likes Herbert as his quarterback.
we'll see how
think
that
he
works
retires.
out.
I think that's the power move.
So before we move on, just an honorable mention: Brock Purdy has been playing some pretty lights out football. He's been making plays
nice.
that other quarterbacks wouldn't make. Like, it's not what we've been saying for the last year and a half on that he just makes the safe throw and he's a system quarterback. He's really proving that he's a baller. He's the number 6 fantasy quarterback in points per game right now. Like,
It's
better
still
than
his-
Patrick
It's
Mahomes.
still his receivers and running backs doing it though.
I
Like,
agree,
they're
but
serious
that's not going
athletes
to
out
change.
there getting that yak.
That's
It's
not
that
going to
yak
change.
that. No, and I get that, but it still hasn't shown me that he's an elite quarterback yet. He's still just efficient. He's just getting the ball to these playmakers. I haven't seen him, slicing and dicing a team up because of the athletes he has on his field, team are insane. With Debo and Ayuk and Christian McCaffrey, with Kittle, it's just unheard of. Like this team, if they don't win the Super Bowl, it's just like, what is football? Like who else would win it at this point?
But valid point, and that's coming from a Cowboys fan.
Damn right, dude. Give
Clip
respect
that.
where it's deserved.
Flip it.
So Austin, I gotta ask you, did you start Achane this week?
I sure did.
Good
Yeah,
job,
are you-
buddy.
Did you?
Over Brees Hall, yeah.
Okay.
And that was the right call.
Yeah,
Good job.
I was trying to tell you on last week's episode whenever we were talking about A-Chan and you
It
started
was
getting your
stupid
head a
that
bit
he had a good game,
big
though.
old shake. It wasn't stupid. He was healthy
Well,
and ready to go, and he's
I
going to get
that,
a
but
majority of the
did
work.
you need him? Did you need him?
Did we
Or
need?
was that
Do we
forced?
need our 31-year-old running back to keep running the ball whenever he's got 14 touchdowns on the year?
No, you should have put the other 35-year-old running back you have in, Jeff Wilson.
No.
And let him
those
run it
guys.
out.
Those guys need
And-
to be fresh.
Most of Achan's yards and carries also came right about the time in the second half when Mike White was ready to come into the game.
Yeah.
True.
So it
it
was
is
all
but
like,
this was the game to where they eased him back in. Like,
yeah.
okay, let's give it to you more in the second half, see how you take over a workload. Monday night versus the Titans. I think he's ready to torch.
I don't think you need him to. Like, there's no
You
reason
keep
to like
saying
keep him
need.
sending him out because, bro, we see injuries come around so often in the NFL. You guys have all the talent in the world to compete with a team like the 49ers.
So you want
There's
us
not
to take a
many teams.
Ferrari and just park it in the garage?
No, 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 no. I want you to give it minimum use. Like,
That's not
just go for a
smart.
little joyride,
you-
but don't fucking rev the engine up
so
too
here,
much.
average 22 yards a carry, but we're only going to give you 6 carries.
I mean, he'd
Thank
get
you.
120 yards.
I mean,
just
yeah,
saying.
That's what I like. I
Still.
just feed him in the end zone, like in the red zone. Like, just
No.
you don't need him. You know
Austin-
what you have.
Austin,
It's like having pocket aces.
this
This
is
is a show that.
Austin,
Don't
this is
show
a
that.
this is a rookie that is his first year trying to get used to game speed, trying to learn this
He's had
offense.
a lot of work from college.
He's going to potentially make mistakes. We want him to make those mistakes over the next 4 weeks instead of in the postseason. We want him to learn now and
What
get better
mistakes
now.
can you make? Take the ball and run forward with
Dude,
your force.
running backs make mistakes all the time. Not hitting the
No,
right
I know,
hole,
but
bad
he's
vision.
showing you that like
what he's
it doesn't
showing
really
you-
matter for him because he's so fast.
What I
He
wanna
can
talk
just run
about
around
is
everyone
that.
like Tyreek.
Justin, this guy, he looks like he's the Flash, and he's just moving so much faster than everyone else that even in a small space, he's able to just like stay a half of a step away from everybody. It's insane to me.
Oh, the way him and Tyreek move, and even Waddle to an extent, reminds me of circa Madden 07, NCAA 04.
Where you could
to
do that
where
like loop
You
and
didn't
then
have to, where you didn't have to juke. If your guy was fast enough, you could
Yes.
literally just weave in
Yes.
and out of people without losing any speed. Best thing
That's
ever.
them.
Kickoff
That's them.
return, deadly. Yes, that is them.
Was that with
Now,
Michael Vick?
so we don't have to stay on the Dolphins too long. Another guy we shouted out last week. So if you started him, you reap the rewards this week. Isaiah Pacheco.
ooh,
The man
Man-
just runs
Sir.
angry every time.
it's got a mean right hook
so
too.
angry.
Yeah, he does. Almost got him tossed.
He did get tossed. He did get tossed from
he?
that game. He got ejected. After he punched that dude in the face, he got ejected from that game. Which look at how
what quarter
good
was
he
that, the
did.
fourth?
Quarter with like the
Oh,
last
I
two.
didn't
It was
see
the
that.
last drive. It was the last drive of the game. Honestly, like it wasn't his
that's a good
fault that
time
they
to do
lost,
it.
but dude,
It's a good time to
they
sock someone.
needed
Though.
him, dude. They needed him
Oh.
so bad.
But like they had a chance to win it. Like on that drive, they scored.
Yes,
It would have been a tie.
they were
out
only down by 5.
with a 2-point.
They were down by 8 at that point. So they could have tied up the game though. It was upsetting. I mean, he had a great game though. That
Yeah,
early
they sound like
touchdown
these.
was very solid, and he looks like a strong runner.
I mean, I think they should be punching that in the end zone weekly with him. Like that's like a Derrick Henry type bet. Is just like putting Pacheco in the end zone.
Well, he's
Like,
so
who-
compact and doesn't look like he'd be as strong running as he is. But he literally, like I said, he runs mad. Like he's ready to just like lay the wood on whoever gets in front of him. I love it. He looks like he's angry at the ground as well because he's just high stepping everywhere. But I mean,
He is
over
angry at
100
everything.
yards,
He's angry at everything.
2 tutties, like he balling, just absolutely balling. Much like this next guy, Nico Collins. Now Tank Dell, T's and P's to him. He's out for the season now. Fractured fibula, I believe.
Fibula.
But Nico showed what happened whenever you have to lean on him, and dude absolutely torched the Broncos.
Told y'all boys, he's a number
The
one.
only player that was even on the same level on Sunday during that game
Tyreek.
was Tyreek Hill. That's what was crazy to me. Whenever you're watching Red Zone and it's showing like how many yards, Nico was on top of Tyreek almost the whole time until the very end of the game whenever Tyreek finally overcame him. But like that's everything you want. Nico Collins, a couple weeks ago, we were saying before the trade deadline to try to trade him away, that his playoff schedule was very, very rough. This was before C.J. Stroud looked like he was an unstoppable force, and it was before Tank Dell just got hurt. Tank Dell being out means that Nico Collins is now a wide receiver 1. He was a borderline wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2, but after what we just saw last week, he's an every week start, matchup proof. Enough said.
He's been a number one ever since he's been on the team. Since last year, he's been the number one for that team.
He hasn't been producing as a number one all year.
I get that, but like
he's had a couple
when you're in the
games.
wide receiver room and you see the dudes there, like he's known as the number one. You look at him, and you're like, all right, that's our dude, you know, and he shows you why. I mean, they have other players that can play to that caliber. We haven't even seen the uncapped potential from John
I'm still not
Mechie.
willing to go as far
I can't wait to see Mechie.
I'm still not willing to go as far as our guy Sut. You know, shout out Day One Dolphins Pod, where he says Nico Collins is Andre Johnson. Still not ready to go there yet, but
y'all need to recognize.
You give me a few more games like that, I might have to come back on that. So
we already
remember how young he
right
is.
now.
Andre Johnson got to get an Andre Johnson immediately after him whenever DeAndre Hopkins came in. That man was an exact replica of Andre Johnson. Like, we have already gotten another one. So I don't think that they're going to get a third.
Andre Johnson was a beast. He was like Megatron.
Yeah,
That's
except for
D-Hop.
bigger, just not as fast.
Yep.
But
Now-
D-Hop isn't like that.
This next
He's
dude
not
I
big
wanted
body
to
like
bring
that.
up just
DeAndre
mostly.
DeAndre Hopkins isn't a big body. No. That man is the king of the high point. Before Mike Evans even knew how to high point, he was watching DeAndre
He can
Hopkins.
high point, but he's not a big body. He's not DK.
Yes, he
That's
is.
what I think of whenever I think
do you remember,
of Megatron.
Do you remember the catch that DeAndre Hopkins
get
had
that.
last
He can
year in
high
the end zone
point.
over three
That's
people
different.
where
That's
he
like Randy Moss.
said, I'm stronger than you, move out of the way, little boy,
Yeah,
and
that's
caught it over
high-pointing.
everybody? That's not.
That's called hops.
Evan
There's
Ingram.
a difference. Yeah,
Now-
D-Hop.
Moving on, this next guy I wanted to bring up because obviously you've always got him in your lineup, but this I was telling Coach before the show. This is I wanted to bring up more for betting purposes. Devontae Smith for the Philadelphia Eagles is being highly undervalued in his projected points each week in fantasy, and where his betting lines are being put with his receptions props and with his yardage props.
Now,
This
is Dallas
dude-
Goddard still out? I know that he
Yeah.
was potentially coming back last week.
Yeah, he's still out right now. I would expect him, if he was on the verge, I expect him back this week for Dallas, especially after a loss.
That
But-
does hurt Devontae Smith because historically, without Dallas Goddard, he's
He
a
eat.
god.
Yeah.
I mean, he gets so much work. But
But
once
that's what I
Goddard's
wanted
in,
to bring up is
Okay.
for some reason the books still don't adjust to that as much as they should. Like his over-under projected yardage is at like 50.5, 45.5. Dude is putting up at this point the same stat line that A.J. Brown is putting up for the
Like
last
They're not throwing
70
the ball
to
to
80.
anybody
like
else.
right around the same range, same amount of catches and targets, same amount of yards, maybe give or take 30 yards or so. But I just wanted to highlight him kind of like I did Dak, to where he's been balling right now. And for fantasy purposes, he's playing like a wide receiver 1, but you've got him slotted in your wide receiver 2 spot, which is awesome.
yeah.
He's low-key balling.
Now, shout out again, another Dallas guy, because again, tight ends this week, it was very slim, few, far between. Our guy Jake Ferguson got
That he was standing on business, wasn't he?
that's what I wanted to more bring up. Not only was it the stat line and the fantasy output that he gave you, but that dude
catch
showed like you want him in a dark alley with you on your side.
That catch at the end of the game, that touchdown where he just snags it, was, I mean, I've never seen him make that play. I always thought he was a big blocking tight end that could, like, you know, do a quick move and, like, get a Gronkowski type catch in the end zone. That was nimble work. Like, that touchdown.
There's a reason they got rid of Schultz, you know? They saw huge potential.
Good
in this
point.
Guy. Cowboys don't get rid of a tight end for no reason.
Good point.
Yeah.
Like,
And-
it goes like quarterback, then tight end for us.
Well, that's
for
the
some
thing
reason.
too, is after CD, Jake Ferguson's getting the second most targets on the team. Brandon Cooks, you know, he's becoming valuable and he's a good
getting up there.
worthy flex
First year in the
guy right
system.
now. But Ferguson he's balling. Like I said, I've started him over Kyle Pitts now for the last about 5-6 weeks, aside from the bye week. He's been awesome. And Sam Laporta, rookie tight end, just coming in. I mean, it's Iowa, so you had to expect it.
He's putting up the best rookie season ever. Jeremy Shockey is the type of name that he's being put into conversation with, and he's going to demolish those records. We say it every year
about this guy.
Yeah, that nobody is good as a rookie for tight end. It does not happen. All these top tight ends that we see in the league right now took 3 years
until their second, third season. Which shout out Dalton Kincaid too, though another rookie. Now he's showing the skills, but it's
he's
more
of receiver type esque.
Exactly. They're much different to me in terms of how they play the tight end position, but. Yeah, what Laporta's doing right now, I also do think it's a matter of outside of Amon-Ra, they don't really have any passing targets.
Which is great. I mean, that's not true.
Williams going crazy.
Jamison Williams.
Jamison Williams, he's good for 3 or 4 go routes a game.
He's a boom bust.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's very Deshaun Jackson-esque without the consistency. Yeah. So, yeah, for me, Laporta, he's at Dynasty leagues, you struck gold.
Yeah, yes, I did.
Yeah, Dynasty leagues, you
10th round. Like 10th round to get a tight end?
Yeah, you didn't take him early.
No, didn't have to. And Mayer was already gone. Kincaid was already gone. And it's just like, all right, I'll take Laporta. Laporta was my favorite. Austin remembers, me and Austin spent a lot of time evaluating running backs and tight ends this year, especially the tight end position. And the moment that we saw Laporta in the combine running routes, I said, that dude is smooth. That dude is going to be the best tight end in the class, easy. My other one was Gibbs. I liked Gibbs more than Bijan, not as a runner, but as a receiver.
And
Gibbs is so smooth as well. So smooth out of the backfield.
He's becoming a lot of like Kamara-esque, where he's almost good for 40 to 50 yards on the ground and 40 to 50 yards through the air.
Which is what I said during the pre-draft, was that he was a very Kamara, type of because he's just so smooth. It's the same thing with Laporta. So make sure that if you need tea, that you go to Tulsi Rose Tea at TulsiRoseTea.com for all of your tea needs.
Herbal teas.
Black teas.
Black teas. White teas.
They got oolong.
Yep, in my white tea.
Yep.
Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.
Deuces, toodaloo, buckaroo. Ho, 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 it's magic. You know. Never believe it's awesome. It's magic.
It's magic.